Okay, so listen carefully. I'm going to teach you a small theory area because most of you all can't remember. I only got a 2 or 3 people saying that they can remember, meaning all the others you all can't remember the relationship between elasticity, or we can say price elasticity of demand, and total revenue or consumer expenditure. I'll say TR and CE. So listen carefully, guys. We'll learn this now. Okay. First of all, we'll talk about what is total revenue and what is consumer expenditure. Okay. So what is total revenue? Total revenue is the income earned by the producer. Producer's total income. What is consumer expenditure? The amount that the consumer is spending. Now, for example, let's say you all joined my theory class. Okay, can you all tell me? Okay, let's say you all joined my theory class for 2 months. My theory class fee is 2,200. So, what will be your consumer expenditure? Consumer expenditure is going to be what? The class fee for 1 month is 2,200. Price, you have bought 2 units. You have come for 2 months. So price multiplied by the quantity demanded. So how much is that? Price is 2,200 a month. You all came for 2 months. So your consumer expenditure is a 4,400. On the other side, guys, I am the producer of this class. What will be my total revenue? My total revenue. Same, right? You're spending 4,400. On my side, I am selling one class at 2,200, right? 1 month multiplied by the quantity demanded. So my thing is also 2,200 into 2. So how much is that? 4,400. So is that part clear, guys? How to calculate consumer expenditure and total revenue? And I can say that consumer expenditure is equal to the total producer revenue. If there is a tax and all, then it becomes a little different. But here we don't talk about taxes and all. In a simple context, the consumer expenditure is equal to the total revenue of the producer. Fine. Yes. Any questions on that? Okay. Now, guys, can you tell? Okay, guys, one thing. Do you all see the letters in the thing like smudge? The letters in red? It's a little smudge kind of, not like the normal phase, right? Wondering why is that? Let me change the. No, the black one is clear. No, the red one is a little smudge kind of feeling. I'm also getting. It's like a okay. Okay, right. Okay, so let me maybe I'll share that on my iPad then. Okay, because if, when I write too much, it becomes a little annoying. Okay, right. So let me share this on my iPad. Give me a second. Oh, are we fine with this? Okay, is this like double the color? That's what I also have a problem. Okay, okay. I'll quickly share this on my iPad. We'll see. I think that way I can teach it faster also. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so we'll talk about total revenue, producer PED, and total revenue or consumer expenditure. Guys, can you all see a screen now? Yes. Okay. So I started off with saying that the total revenue, okay, the total revenue is equal to the consumer's expenditure. Okay, so how did that happen? We learned. Now let's go one by one and we'll talk about each of these situations. Listen very carefully, guys. Put this into your head the very first time because there are so many MCQs. Every single paper, there is at least one MCQ from this area. Okay, so only if you understand this part, you can get that. So it's like a 2 marks guaranteed every year. Sometimes there are essay questions also. Okay, so we'll start off with elastic demand. Yes, can you tell me what is elastic demand? What is elastic demand? When the price of the good changes, does the quantity demand change by a greater proportion or by a lesser proportion? Elastic demand. When price changes, QD changes, a greater proportion or a lesser proportion? Elastic demand. So what is elastic demand? Elastic demand is where when price changes, the QD changes a lot. No, elastic. Remember the rubber band. Yeah. So why do we call a rubber band elastic? Because it changes. No, it changes the size. So always remember, whenever we say elastic, price supply is elastic or demand is elastic, what does that mean? That means the demand or the supply changes a lot, guys. Okay. So we'll now talk about elastic demand. Look at this. Okay. We'll put some numbers into our example. Okay. Let's take the price multiplied by the quantity demanded is equal to our total revenue or consumer expenditure. Let's initially say the price of the good is 10 rupees. Quantity demanded is 100. If that is the case, how much is the total revenue? Total revenue is 1,000. Yes. Now we'll go into the interesting story. Can you tell me, let's say the price increased. It increased from 10 to 12. What will happen to QD? Will it increase or decrease? Just tell me that. Price went from 10 to 12. What's going to happen to quantity demanded? Quantity demanded is going to go down. Negative relationship, law of demand. And then can you tell me, is the quantity demanded going to go down a little or going to go down a lot? Elastic demand. Have that in mind. It's going to go down a lot. Can you give me an example, a number for QD? 100 would become what? Now, price went from 10 to 12, a 20% increase. Then QD has to fall more than 20%. Now, if you give me 80, it's wrong because 80 is a 20% fall, then becomes unitary elastic. So maybe let's say for our calculation purpose, easy one, I'll take 50. See, price increased a little. There is a small increase in price, but QD falls a lot. As a result, how much is the total revenue or consumer expenditure now? How much is the total revenue or the consumer expenditure? Earlier it was 1,000. Now when the price increased, what happened? The thing fell. It went to 600. So what can you say? When the price increased, total revenue, or in other words, consumer expenditure fell. Is that part clear? When the price increased, the total revenue or the consumer expenditure went down. Okay. We'll look at the opposite now. Let's say the price went to 8. Can you give me a number for quantity demanded? How much will the QD be? One thing is, when the price decreases, QD has to increase. That's the first thing that you have to come to your mind. Then elastic demand, meaning QD has to increase a lot. There's elastic demand. Remember our topic. So a small fall in the price should cause a huge increase in the QD. So maybe the QD can go to now, let's say 150. Can you now tell me how much is the total revenue or the consumer expenditure? How much is it now? It's the 1,200, 18 to 150. So see, when the price goes down, what happens? The total revenue or the consumer expenditure increases. So what type of a relationship does price and total revenue have here? When demand is elastic, what type of a relationship? Negative or a positive relationship? So you can say, what can you say? You can say price and total revenue, or in other words, consumer expenditure has a what? Negative relationship when price elasticity of demand is elastic. So when PED is elastic, what can you say? When PED is elastic, you can say price and total revenue has a negative relationship. Is that clear, guys? That means if you increase your price, your QD will fall. If you decrease your price, QD will increase. Now, can you tell me, guys, think you are the producer. Okay, now let's think below. I am the producer of this class. I realize the demand for my classes, my product is highly elastic. I realized, if I change price, people are very responsive. They quickly react. So what do you think I should do? What do you think the producer should do? If I want to increase my total revenue, as a producer, what should I do? Should I increase my class fee, in others, increase my price, or should I decrease my price? What should I do? Now, I am a producer. I realize my demand has an elastic demand. I change the price a little, people react a lot. So what should I do as a producer? As a producer, what should I do, guys? As a producer, I should go and decrease the price. No, when I decrease my price, can you see total revenue goes up? So this is how it is practically used in the real world. So what do producers do? They identify whether their good is an elastic or inelastic demand good, and then based on that they figure out, okay, if I am to increase my total revenue, what should I do? Is that part fine, guys? Elastic demand and how does it react with total revenue consumer expenditure? Okay, so we'll then have a look at inelastic demand now. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at inelastic, right? Inelastic demand. Okay, so let's take the same approach once again. Okay, price, quantity demanded, and the total revenue or the consumer expenditure. Let's say price was 10, quantity demand was 100, total revenue was 1000. Let's assume the price decreases. Let's say 10 went to 5. Can you tell me what happens to QD if the price decreases? Okay, one is QD will increase. Will it increase a lot or a little? Inelastic demand. Think and tell. Price has fallen, 10 has gone to 5. What will happen to QD? QD will increase, that is law of demand, increase by a little or lot? By a small amount, no, inelastic demand. Can you give me a number? 100 would go to how much? Guys, QD has to increase. Don't give me a number less than 100. Law of demand, price is going down from 10 to 5. If the price decreases, QD has to increase. It's increasing only a little though, because it is inelastic. So any number, I think less than 150, more than 100 is correct. So maybe for our calculation purpose, I'll take 110, let's say, right? So I'll take 110. Price fell down by 50%, but QD increased only by 10%. How much is my total revenue? So price fell a little, QD increased a lot. Total revenue now is a 550. So what happens here? When I decrease my price, what happens? What happens to my total revenue or my consumer expenditure? Total revenue, consumer expenditure also decreases. I decrease price, total revenue or consumer expenditure also went down. Let's do the opposite. Let's say the other way. Let's say price went from 10 to 50. Can you give me a number for QD? One thing, if the price increase, QD has to go down. And inelastic demand means QD goes down a little, guys. Don't give me a number more than 100. If the price increases from 10 to 15, law of demand, QD has to decrease. So decrease to how much? Maybe let's say it goes down to 90, let's say. Small decrease, 10% fall. Okay. So then how much is my total revenue now? How much is my number now? Now my total revenue is 1,350. So what happened? When my price increased a little, right? Sorry, when my, sorry, this one is wrong here, the arrows. My price fell down a lot, right? My price fell down by a lot. QD increased a very little, small arrow. On the other side, when my price increased a lot, QD fell a very little. So what happens here, guys? Now, when my price increased, what happened to my total revenue or consumer expenditure? When my price increased, total revenue or consumer expenditure also increased. So then what can you say, guys? Price and total revenue, when the demand is inelastic, what type of a relationship do we have? Price and QD. So price and demanded has a what type of relationship? Has a positive relationship. They are positively related, right? Has a positive relationship when what? PED is inelastic. So when PED is inelastic, price and QD has this. So now can you tell me, if I am the producer, I realize my demand for my good is inelastic. Even if I change prices, people are not changing their pieces, total revenue and this thing, right? Sorry, not price and QD, price and total revenue. Good to see some of you all were listening. Total revenue for consumer expenditure. Okay. So guys, what can you say? If I am a producer, I realize my demand for my good is inelastic. Even if I change price, people are still not changing much. What should I do to increase my total revenue? As a producer, will I increase my price or will I decrease my price? What should I do? I want to increase my total, I want to increase my sales now. What do? I will go and do what? I will increase my price, because if I increase my price, my total revenue goes up. So can you see how this changes with the type of elasticity? So if it is elastic, it's a little more different. When it is inelastic, it behaves another way. Is that part clear, guys? Okay. Now, sometimes, in your question, now in our question, guess how much, any of you all remember how much was the PED in our question? It was 0.8, right? So can you tell me if that 0.8 is elastic or inelastic? What are they talking about? See, they have not directly told us also. They have not even told whether it is elastic or inelastic. So what do you think? 0.8 is elastic or inelastic? Inelastic, right? Remember, less than 1. Now, those are basics of the unit, right? So I'm not going into that basics to teach you how to interpret the PED numbers. That is inelastic, right? 0.8. Anything less than 1 is inelastic. So this is what we are talking about in our question. So let me go to the question, but I'll also teach you unitary elastic can go. Shall we learn unitary elastic quickly and go? Because any questions so far, are we fine? I'm not very sure if this explanation is too slow for those people who already know. Based on the feedback given, I'm taking some time to explain. For those who already know, this might be like a very boring part now, but for those who are learning something new, might be a little interesting for you. Okay. So we'll talk about unitary elastic then. How does it work for unitary elastic demand? If the demand is unitary elastic. Now, what is unitary elastic? Once again, when the price changes, QD also changes by the same proportion. Now, let's take some numbers. Let's again take price, QD, total revenue or consumer expenditure. We'll go with our initial numbers, this one, and this one. Okay. So this I'll quickly go, guys. So how it will work is, if the price falls by 50%, the QD will double. QD would go to a 200, unitary elastic. Total revenue will remain at 1000. Let's say price goes to, let's say 20, price doubles, QD will fall by a 50%. Then it will be another 1000. So in unitary elastic, what do you need to know, guys? You need to realize in unitary elastic, no matter what happens to the price, right? Even if the price increases or even if the price decreases, the total revenue or the consumer expenditure remains unchanged. So they can give you questions. They can tell you, now remember PED is what? Unit elastic means PED is equal to -1. So they can give you a question for a certain good, PED is -1, they can give you something and they can say when the price of this good has increased, right? It increased from 5 to 10 rupees, but the consumer expenditure did not change. What is the elasticity? Now, what do most people do? They are now calculating. They are saying, price increase from 5 to 10. Okay, they're putting the PED equation now. Change in QD divided by change in P. They are doing that. You don't have to do that. You need to realize if the price is changing and the total revenue or the consumer expenditure is not changing, means it's a what type of elasticity? It's a good with unitary elastic demand. Is that clear? For unit elastic, it does not change. Fine. Any other questions that you all have? There was a sir, I'm guessing that's a question. If price increase, QD will also increase. No. If price increase, QD will decrease. As it 10 went to 20, 100 went to 50. So price increase, QD fell. But since it increases and decreases by the same proportion, total revenue doesn't change. Okay. Yeah. Perfect elastic will work just like this. So elastic and even perfectly elastic will work like this type of relationship, and even inelastic and perfectly inelastic will also work like this. Okay, so you all can get a screenshot. I'll try to share as much as possible on the screen. Okay, this can be one screen. Guys, can someone take a screenshot and send it on the group also? So if anyone who has not copied down and now struggling to copy down, you all can send on the group, no? I have restricted that because people start sharing nonsense in the middle. They start forwarding this Adidas's 500 anniversary, and that's what happens when I open the group for nonsense. So many nonsense comes, they share flyers and they share this and that. So I rather kept it that just me to text. But if someone has, can I take a screenshot and send it to me? I'll send it on the group now. Okay. So you can, if you're on a laptop and WhatsApp web is all on, just take a screenshot and send it to me. I will send it on the group. Okay. Okay, right. So I've got a picture. Fine. Okay, so others, thank you. Okay, this one, okay, this picture is okay, but my face looks a little ugly. Never mind. What to do? Right, let me share that on the group. Any other questions, guys? Anything else from this area? Fine. Okay. Okay, so if that is the case, we'll get back to our past paper questions. So I'll end this recording over here. I'll upload this as a separate session. So if anyone doesn't know PED and total revenue consumer expenditure relationship, they can watch.